What's up everyone, welcome to a new video. Here today we're going to talk about the Metal Gear Solid 2 leak. I may be late to the topic, but trust me, it will be worth it around the end because I also played the leak myself. Well, we'll get to that in just a second. So what happened here first? Well, May 1st around noon here in Europe, we heard by Lance McDonald here, who reported the entire source code and all assets for Metal Gear Solid 2 HD just leaked on 4chan. Appears to come from Amateur's work on the Vita port. Amateur, of course, was the student that was behind the Vita version for Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 HD here. And at least their code and their work with Metal Gear Solid 2 has been leaked. And you'll be thinking, well, okay, the Vita version, I mean, it's not necessarily that cool, but it's still cool to be able to look behind the scenes. But once you actually take a look at the code, it goes even deeper. Because in this code base, there's basically everything you need to work all the way back to the original, even pre-releases for the PlayStation 2 version of Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. And here's what that leak is. It's basically just a couple of files here. One huge database that comprises basically the game data. These are all the assets, including voice files, music files, the video files, and of course, everything else you need. Animations, textures, modeling, you name it. And in the depot file, then that's where the actual code base is that makes everything else work. And in the depot, there's also something which we'll love to see, an executable file. Now again, before we get to actually using this, I want to let you know, if you want to do what I do later, you just need the depot. You don't need to have all of the 20 gigabytes to be downloaded. Technically, you just need the 150 megabyte depot leak. Well, one of the former developers for Metal Gear Solid 2, Omori Takahiro, has also reacted to the news here, and in his words, he says it's not a very pleasant feeling, which is understandable. If you worked hard for something and then it just gets leaked after a few decades, it's never really feeling that right. And I mean, the dude actually worked on a lot in the series here. What is interesting though is other people's reactions to this. And we have here Solid Snake 11. Solid Snake 11 is someone who was working on Metal Gear Solid 2 since 2010 at least, in reverse engineering the game and trying to make changes to the game that are interesting in his eyes. And I think he did a great job so far. Because look at it. He made the HF Blade mod for Metal Gear Solid 2 PC Substance. And also he managed to make at least a prototype for a multiplayer mod here for Metal Gear Solid 2, where 2 people can play together. Really hope this will be helped now. And of course, as well, he also restored again the flag here in Metal Gear Solid 2's end sequence after we beat Solidus. Anyways, he's also now working with the leak, of course. But not only this, he also found more stuff here. Remember the E3 2001 trailer, where Snake is just leaving here on the escape? Where is exactly this effect now, where the whole tanker section gets flooded? This has never been in the game anymore in a playable state, until now. Well, as it says itself, it's here, but it's a flooding effect that exists in the game. You can activate it. And it looks like this. It's actually quite cool here. But there's actually nothing else to it. It's just, the effect here, and then probably for the trailer, they never actually finished the actual dying here, so you needed to escape. Nevertheless, though, it's cool to see this actually being in-game here. And, fun fact, this is the Master Collection version. You can tell by the little pause menu in the top right corner. And this leak in general will help a lot of people in their tools already. We have here, of course, the massive Metal Gear Solid 2 community bug fix compilation, which does all sorts of patches. Additionally, on top to the HD fix to the Master Collection versions for Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 on Steam. And of course, we have also other mods like better audio. And now that we have the actual raw audio, we can make it perfect basically from the ground up. And people already also updated Anti-Big Boss's mod loader here. And even smaller tools that are still quite good for mods to be used early on is this texture converter here. And we already have a patch coming that will soon be released as well. So all in all, good stuff. And of course, this is not everything. In the leak itself, as I said, it's also the Vita version. And before that, the original HD version, so PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And I'm currently on the Reverse Engineer Discord, where people are also already chatting about it and talking back and forth. And we see lots of cool stuff here, such as this video that was posted to Reddit, where someone was actually running here now the Blue Points version, the HD port, on PC, as it was basically in development, with all the extra stuff like a frame counter, area showing where we are, and a not yet working FPS counter. And you know, of course, with the source code, unlike when you reverse engineer a game and try to recreate as best as possible based on the effects that come after you work with the code, with the source code itself, you can also see so much deeper into the actual brains and guts of how a game like this works. You can just read it out loud. I will not show you any source code here. I will not show you any documentation. But trust me, the code base is really great. It's very much in detail. And the people that worked back then in 2001 on the game, and even later on, they did a great job of documenting a lot for us here. Most of it is in Japanese, so I gotta still translate a lot here. I sadly cannot speak Japanese, but it's really cool. And one cool thing that I want to leave here today with is this. Solid Snake 11 says here, why is everyone posting up the blue point debug menu when the actual original debug menu is a literal Goldie? It's a massive and context-based, as certain options get loaded only after the initialization of certain actors. Documenting it properly would take ages. Oh, okay. Sounds like a challenge for me. Like I promised, you actually just need the depot here. And if you take a look at the depot, there's a folder called MGS2X. In there, there's a source folder. And in this source folder again, there's an MGS2.exe file. There's also the MGS2_SSE file. This is basically like the release build of Metal Gear Solid 2's disk version for PC Substance. But more interestingly is this MGS2.exe. Because that's the actual development build. And in that, you can quite easily activate the debug menu. So basically, if you have an installed version of the game already ready here, as I do, remember you can also install now vSphyx. I already did that. I'm currently on version 1.81. And if you just move this MGS2X over here and then launch it, it should ideally just work. Now here's the thing. If you try to recreate this yourself, you'll maybe run into issues. And I cannot give you any support in the comments. You gotta figure out some stuff yourself. Again, I just installed the game fresh in a new folder from the ISO. I added vSphyx, and then I slapped on the MGS2Exe. Everything after that, it maybe depends on what else you have installed in your system. For me, I already have some issues. But I have also very cool things that actually work. So let's take a look here and actually load into the game. I'm just gonna run here, new game. Gonna run the tanker, whatever, just boot it up here. And earlier today I had trouble with an installation where when the first codec loaded, it just crashed right away. And as you can see here, some stuff isn't even properly working, right? Some of the faces are not loading correctly, some of the textures are not there. And this could be a multitude of aspects playing a role here. But mainly for me here, I can actually go here into the actual playable state. And if you press pause here, you know I'm already in the developer version because it not only just shows us paused, it also shows us here WOOA. That's the name of the stage that we're on currently. It's the head of the tanker. Now, how do you open the debug menu? Solid Snake says you just need to press L1. I need to press L2. I don't know why. Maybe it's different depending if you have the HD version or if you have this version. Solid Snake 11 was able to open and recreate this developer menu way, way earlier. But for people like you and I, who are not that deep into the code, this is also now finally possible and able to be done. Let me just press the button. And here is the debug menu. So let me just give you a very brief overview of what you can do here. This is not the full guide, but this is what I found out today by just playing with it. So a lot of cool things can be done already for the menu here. And as Solid Snake 11 says, it's also contextual. So say, for example, you're in a boss fight against, I don't know, Fat Man, you can also toggle stuff for Fat Man specifically. Here we're just on a regular stage. And here already you can see with the enemy control, I'm going to say I control open. And the other point, just by going D-pad right or left, is closed. Now, the people will still run around and look at you, but they will not actually see because they have technically their eyes closed. And what's even better is, with eye view on, you can also see their view cones. Like this. There's a guy here now, who, if he would spot you, would not even alert on you. But these are the actual view cones of the soldiers in Metal Gear Solid 2. Now, we're currently on very easy here. Of course, on European Extreme, they would be massive. Even so big that it's actually hard to grasp. Just standing down here, we can already see those European Extreme soldiers' view cones. Just absolutely massive. Again, you are actually so close, it barely makes any sense to look at it. Unless you're like relatively far away here. But yeah, these European Extreme soldiers, they look way, way further. And once again, like I said, it's just really cool to see this actually in the game. And you can do that as well now without any knowledge about how to program. Just put that one file into your game install, and again, hopefully it works out for you. But there's even more. There's also a section for the player. That's you then as Snake, of course. And you can also do stuff here like event view, trap, and zone view. So you can see like where you are in the zone here of the level. Or if you go behind, other small things. There's lots and lots of settings here, which I can't even cover all together here. So many informations that we need to play around with. And for example, also very cool is you can see now the hitbox of Snake himself. And what we already played and what I already found out about the game is that the little red box here is actually Snake's hitbox. Now, as I said, I turned off the guy's reaction to us. But if their view cone intercepts them with my red hitbox, just go all the way to top again and say I control open. Look, now he sees me.
It's the enemy. I need help.
As you can see also, they're now technically on European Extreme. They need some good time here and also a few shots to go down. But because I closed the eyes again, even if they reload on me, doesn't count. So that alone is already a great thing for us to be done. We can now use this, for example, for tutorials. We can show people, hey, if you're in this room, watch out, there's a guy right there, and he would see you, even though he's like off screen. Because you can now visualize the view cones, it's so much cooler, and I think also more helpful to make tutorials in a viewpoint like this. But okay, we take this specific line here, because there is a guard view cone that would be able to look at you. Such for example here. Again, I just turned it off, so that's fun. There's also fun things like you can turn on the result screen, so you can tell already what stats you will have. Say for example here, you can see better now on this background. I currently have a damage count of 10 here. I have 1 alert count, 5 shot count. And there's actually even more being tracked here than I initially thought. You know, there's a red exclamation mark that's even being tracked in total. And so many more. It even tells you what your clear count is. And of course, how many clears you have per chapter, if it's tanker or plant. And of course, at the bottom, there's also the play time. Now, one last thing I've heard they also find quite cool is here, the system. System is basically what you can also change in the options, but you can now change it on the fly with this menu. So you have vibration on, off, caption on, off, radar on, off. So now it's on, now it's off. I mean, I'm under alert, but still. There we go. As soon as we're back now, can turn it on or off. And of course, there's also stuff like quick change type. Old is unequip, newest and previous. So now it's previous. If I go to old, it's unequip. And same with menu. Go to menu old. I'm gonna go here, I have the old linear menu. And if I go to menu type new, then it's the group version. And I was at least able to play throughout the entirety of Tanker and see a lot already behind the scenes. And I also even got up to plant. But that plant, unfortunately, there's one thing that did not go well. At least for me personally, whenever I go to plant and I want to load the docs, the game just crashes. I don't know why. I'm talking to another speedrunner, you know him maybe, Marlon8, who's also, of course, a glitch hunter, and he can play through it without any problems. I don't know why, I don't know what the problem is for my copy here, my system, not being able to load the docs, but it is what it is. That's at least all for today. I will keep, of course, my eyes and ears open to hear if anything new comes around, especially for you guys out there. If it's actually something new you can use like a tool or a mod, or even a new playable version. My personal hopes for this at the end of the day is we can actually maybe get a PC port for Sons of Liberty. Because Sons of Liberty is definitely different to Substance, and I've proven that also last Sunday when I did an all difficulty speedrun of the PlayStation 2's Sons of Liberty North American release. It's 8.5 hours long, because I struggled a little bit at an extreme, but trust me, if you want to have see all the experiences and hear also about all the things that are different in Sons of Liberty versus Substance, I went into all detail whenever I found out a difference that I noticed. But yeah, thank you so much then for watching again. I'll be back with another video, and I'll catch you all soon again. Bye bye.